Sandra before she ever knew me.
Really?
Through social media. Her marketing and her social media captured my attention, and I wanted to meet her long before, about a year before. So, and I shared that with her. So I'm glad that she finally was able to join us and get connected. And so y'all, please get to know her. She can be a huge asset to your business. She's involved in our arena. She knows a lot of people. And if you network and stay in the arena and keep your feet moving, you're gonna run into her again. So,
That's such a build-up. Thank you. I appreciate it. So I'm happy you laid the foundation for me to present. Before we start, I'm gonna ask if you can close your eyes for a second. So imagine that you have 30 seconds to say the most impactful thing that could change the trajectory of your life. You're ready for it. You know it. Inside and out. No one can change what you know. But there's this one thing that's stifling you, that has you by the throat. And you just can't get it out. You can't get your words out to speak things or manifest those things into existence that will drive your success forward. Now open your eyes. That one thing, I'm gonna help you with pitching through it. And that thing that has you by the chokehold is called imposter syndrome. And I'm here to empower entrepreneurs on how to turn that fear into confidence, and then equally turn your voice into the voice of impact. All right, imposter syndrome, I gave you a high level visual of what it is, but did you know that in this survey, over 50 plus people were surveyed. More than 50% of the people feel like they don't belong in a current role or workplace, and it's attributed to imposter syndrome. And let me give you more color about it. You're qualified. Everything on paper says you're qualified. You have that experience. As my coworker in front of me, she had 15 years burning in the kitchen, so we know she can cook. Right? But something eats up the inside of you that says, I'm sorry, I don't think this is gonna taste good. I'm fearful to put my dish in front of an audience or in front of a panel. That thing strangles more than 50% of people. And then also that insecurity, so to speak, causes you to hesitate to even bring forth that thing that, for me, the woman of faith, that God has birthed into you, and it's your job to bring it forward, right? But that thing has me by the neck. I can't get it out. So I'm frustrated, I'm struggling, it's an internal war. So with that, we'll move forward. I help professionals overcome that. I want you to be able to use proven strategies to help you master public speaking when it matters the most in environments like this, right? Problem, kind of teed it up. You don't envy you as a founder, as an entrepreneur, and even if you're not an entrepreneur, as an employee in the workplace, you're trying to move forward, but fear won't let you do it. And how we focus and work through that is we take a look at people as individuals. We focus on trauma-informed coaching to build confidence and trust to help you secure funding or the next step forward in your career. And when we talk about trauma-informed, it's saying we build our coaching solutions that are bespoke to you as an individual, and we look at how is it, or what is the thing that's underlying the fear, and how do we equip our clients in best managing that fear so they can be successful. tailored guidance. It's based on different fundamentals, different frameworks. Not only do we do this as a one-on-one during our intake in a small, intimate environment, we host workshops as well, right? So I'll tell you more about the books, but here I am here, I'll do it right now. This is an anthology. It's a collection of stories by people, including me, women who have experienced workplace trauma, right? So not only am I talking it, I'm walking it. This is Unbreak My Soul. It is a workbook, and it's catered to women of color, but it's catered to women in general, right? But I host vulnerability workshops based on the framework in this workbook. I'm a certified Unbreak My Soul facilitator. I was certified by Dr. Carrie Aziz. She is the author, and she also is a friend, and she was the publisher who helped to curate the anthology, so you guys can kind of go through it. Flexible learning. Because my mission is human-centric, Egan Rose Consulting is my overarching business. But Shane said, Keidra, you gotta find that one thing and focus on that. You can have a lot of different elements you do, that's all good. But when you're pitching, you need to pitch one thing. And I'll share with you what I hadn't told you. So as I'm telling Shayna in the introduction about my business, my consulting, I wanted to be that person to offer strategies and offerings to clients where we could empower them to put the human back in human capital, right? So when you think HR, you're thinking, oh no, this is helpless, I don't wanna deal with nothing with HR, but I wanted to flip that script, right? And it was when I shared with Shayna and my cohorts, my passion, my principles around empowering people to have agency and choice, and really understand that you are worth it, and to look at self-advocacy. She paused, she said, I normally don't do this, but I'm gonna ask you, would you mind presenting to the class on how to overcome imposter syndrome? Because she was glued into or tuned into the fact that over 77% of people are afraid of public speaking. Over 70% of people struggle with this, right? And even the survey that I showed you earlier, it was birthed in this cohort. I was at a conference in Philly, it's Diversitech, and I'm sitting in spaces like this, and I hear the theme going, I would, but I can't, but I don't know. And that discernment, that inner empathy, because that's my title, I'm the Chief Empathy Officer of Consulting, right? Right, that's me. I heard that, I heard the cry, the voice, the call out that says, okay, Keidra, if you're true to your mission by putting the human back in human capital, you're gonna raise a platform for this. And that's where we are today. So, public speaking, let's kill two birds with one stone. Let's help you get to the underlying root of what's driving the fear behind public speaking. And I think I'm doing something great or right anyway. The testimonials are speaking to it. Very transformative experiences. And even in this space, I got a testimonial back. The session is about defining imposter syndrome and how you can take real actionable steps to manage it. And imposter syndrome is not a diagnosis in the sense of, oh, I got a cold or I broke my knee or I twisted an ankle. It's a phenomenon, right? It's all in the mental conditioning. Here, another forum that I spoke at, Black in Tech. It was unexpected, but necessary. Engaging and transparent, kind and powerful, honest and hopeful, knowledge-driven and amazing. This touched me because this was the framework that I put together that says, this is how we're gonna tear this thing apart. This is what I love to see, that the attendees found their sessions actionable, engaging, interactive, and inspiring. And true to fashion for me, I'm a very humble person, so I left out the slides intentionally. That speaks to my credibility in this space. I shared about the Unbreak My Soul facilitator certifications, but I have SHRM certifications that I am a mental health, workplace mental health ally. I have over 20 plus years in a corporate environment focused on compliance and regulatory risk, with my latter years in third-party compliance. I'm a graduate of the Texas A&M Law School here in Fort Worth. Not Fort Worth native, but I put my foot down. Alright, so behind all of the credentials, the paper, the everything, I'm that person who struggles with imposter syndrome. I'm that person right now, my heart beats so fast. You know, I've had to calm myself down multiple times. I have to reinforce those frameworks and those teachings that I have to tell my clients, because I have to live it and I have to walk it. And so, speaking of clients, who are my clients? Entrepreneurs, corporations, whether it's the person in HR who needs to hire somebody to talk through this and help, you know, different leaders get trained a little bit better on how to promote safe spaces that help their employees, ERGs, then industry associations, nonprofits such as this lovely space, event planners. Everyone's planning events. Everybody's, you know, having these women's events, and I honed in on women because I'm a woman, and that's my first person narrative. But this message is universal. It is not just tied to one sex. But what is most important for me to tap into is the college students, because I'm all about legacy. I want you to know that when you leave that safe space of higher learning, some jobs are waiting on you. But I don't want it to tear you down. I don't want it to mess you up. I want you to be prepared. Alright, so people who say, yeah, Keidra, I get these are the clients I can target or you know, touch, but I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm there, I'm a DIY kind of girl too. But some people just avoid it. That's the alternative. Hey, I'm not doing any public speaking. I'm not getting up. I just am not gonna do it. But as an entrepreneur or business owner, you have to. You have to overcome that fear. Peer groups, support networking, trial and error. Some people just, I'm gonna do it until I just can't do it anymore. But the limitations of that is it's not tailored, and you're not looking, or some people cannot look from a standpoint of looking within to find out what are the triggers, what's the root cause of the trauma that may or may not have affected your voice. Why my approach or our approach works. It's trauma informed. And I've said that phrase for a few times, but trauma informed really takes into account emotional and psychological impacts of your lived experience, right? And it also takes into account how to not re-traumatize or re-trigger things that happened and have you know, not go through the regression. Your position is to move forward and do so successfully and with poise and grace. And that's what we want to help you do. And of course, build your self-confidence through compassionate efforts. I am the chief empathy officer, so I get it. I may not have lived through every scenario, but I can walk in your shoes. And my competitive advantage, okay, so some people, they work from Fort Worth natives, right? Denitra Bradley, she's Fort Worth PD, Candace and Keidra, right? So you know that basically all of these ladies, I'm friends with them, right? So this was very challenging for me. You talk about triggers. I was triggered in, like, I don't wanna be competitive with them, you know, but, for the sake of saying this is a business exercise, they are my competitors. They're very much my competitors, and we've all worked together. Indirect competitors, again, AI, it's a great tool, but it doesn't always count for human interaction, right? Books, podcasts, etc. So, but my edge is, again, trauma-informed, personalized approach with a broader network. So the broader network says, what I have access to, you have access to. If there's not something I'm not well versed in that's specific to your need, my network can probably tap into it. And I think Shayna kind of gave y'all the heads up on that. Marketing and distribution, storytelling, right? I like to tell a story, and part of the story is, here's a quick snippet. I had a stroke when I was 29. Yeah, 29. Same person who birthed it as me, he allowed me to move on and keep going, right? So a lot of that phase was very much peppered in stress, internal stressors that were overcomplicated by external factors, right? So stressing, holding in stuff, doubting myself, just dealing with a lot of social dynamics. So again, I'm not just talking, I'm not just giving you AI sound bites, I walked it. And that's another little thing. I was 2024 Tarrant County American Heart Association, Go Red for Women, Woman of Impact. That's a long title. I'm glad it's 2025. Again, merchandise, you have the books. I also try to stay true to my focus, to help people to remember to choose you. This is one of the merch. This will be like a bookmark. Podcast. I'm giving that space. That story, it's coming along. One-on-one coaching. I'm also in the process of finalizing some online training. So it's asynchronous. You can either do it here, you do it online, but I want to be able to have that extended and scalable reach. And then also speaking engagements. I have to stay practicing, right? I have to overcome that fear of public speaking. And that's how I do it. Revenue streams, merch, coaching, speaking engagements, and of course workshops. So there's a range. These are estimated annually. There's an hourly rate. Speaking engagements, just highlighted an average. And then from an online workplace workshops perspective, there's a range, because not only am I doing this as an independent, I'm also certified for SBA certification with a woman-owned business enterprise. Hey, my ask, right? Gotta shake that money. So starter costs included office space, payroll, equipment, technology, and then the ongoing costs, marketing, payroll, office space, fractional staff, and travel expenses. And one thing I'll highlight is that I underestimated marketing costs. If I could go back and tell my younger self anything, I would tell my younger self to major in marketing. So little mom, yeah, marketing, that's the T. Major in marketing, go to school. And I did not specify all of the, line item levels of the expenses, but trust, marketing is the larger expense. And so that's where, I'll also share the team, right? Hope I didn't skip a slide. Let me go back. No, I didn't. I'll share the team that helps me make it possible, because I'm not a monolith. I don't do it on my own. Cheryl, she's my storytelling mentor. She helps me with close it up, Keisha. You talk too long. You got past that stage fright. I need you to get on point. Dr. Cordell, she's my trauma research. She's my support in that space. She has launched a trauma institute Institute. She has years and years and years of, different experience in that space. And then Lauren, I love Lauren, that's my finance support. She keeps me honest, right? Any sound business has to have sound financials, period. From candles to barbecue sandwiches, the book's gotta be right, period. So with that, my plan, right? And I'm pretty sure I skipped a slide somewhere because my ask is not, from a standpoint of, being myopic. It's with a $5,000 investment. I would like to further invest in more marketing and more, fractional staff to help me complete the standout of the online training, and then equally help to move forward with more bespoke branding for the one-on-one coaching or the imposter syndrome presentations and such. So here, the exit strategy, in 5 years, I want to change my business to be a board governance structure, right? I don't wanna, again, I can't do this by myself. I need to have, thinkers, a well-balanced, thought process at the helm of the ship. Not saying that I'm not highly capable to do it myself, but when you get a group of geniuses, it's better than one. Alright, there's my funding need, so that's the investment act. Marketing, fractional staff, and local chamber memberships. That's important to me. I want to further embed myself in the, economic community of Fort Worth. I shared, not from Fort Worth, I recently relocated from Collin County to here, but again, there's so much benefit in the networking space, and to be there and have that access to resources and, inside knowledge about what's coming down the pipe for your specific area is beneficial and critical in those chamber memberships. And you have access to, market to potential customers who would be your peer organizations who are members of the chamber. So it's worth the money to be involved with them because you're marketing your business through your enrollment in that space. My personal investment to date is about $20,000. So again, I made the pivot from corporate in October of last year, and, no regrets, burned the ships. So it's the Sea of Cortez for me, I'm not going back, so that's that. And remember, that is the ultimate ask for you to invest in transformational speaking skills. And that investment in this is an investment in me, which means that I get to fulfill my mission by helping bring human capital back into the human resources space. So let's talk more about it. Here's my contact information. This is me doing the thing. Well, that's my campus plan.
You were in our class.
Yes, this is me doing my thing. So thank you, and I took advantage of the rule of the 3 minutes was off the
Yes,
table.
I'm over the 3 minute rule.
Okay,
I'm
perfect.
gonna go first, really
Yeah,
quickly,
no worries.
so if I can, cause I wanna step out here in just a second. You know, Keisha, while you were talking, yes, we do talk about, you know, one of the things is we wanna get really good at one or two things before we take on too much, right? Cause we know if we're juggling too much, we're gonna drop the ball, and so that's what we wanna try to avoid. But you know, as you were speaking today, something really resonated with me that kind of ties in with imposter syndrome that I don't think is talked about, that I really haven't heard. You know, Brene Brown talks about it, was vulnerability. And, you know, we all love her, but nobody else seems to talk about it. And boundaries. And I think that's so important in business.
Very much so.
Right? And so, I just kind of wanted to throw that out. And then you also talked about, the chamber memberships, someone else talked about LLCs. You know, if I want you to know, if I haven't told you, and this may be a repeat for some of y'all, but, you know, there's great funding in our community for these things. So the requirement for that is a pitch. Over at Accelerate Fort Worth, they provide pitch training. They provide practice pitch night. They have 1 million cups where you can go see others pitching like we are tonight. So there's a multitude of options for you to get to construct. This is the first time, right? So to really construct and fine tune an amazing pitch deck and then get funding. So permitting, chamber memberships, let them pay for that. And they pay for marketing, which is something you won't normally find. Marketing is very difficult to pay for in grant funding, extremely difficult. And so let them pay for your marketing. And it's a quarterly grant, which means you can apply every quarter. Okay, so just kind of mental note, right? But with this being a lot of our first pitch time to pitch, we may need to tighten it up a little bit. Like
Yeah, for
so
sure.
that's kind of, we were allowed a little bit of extra time. So great job, keep up the good work, and we just want to have you back as a guest speaker for our participants.
Thank you, and I'm eager to hear more feedback, and also open to it too.
I'll go first. First of all, I really love what you do because it's very needed, especially when we talk about the youth. Because I love the youth too, that's my market as well. I think that just teaching them how to have a voice or to access their voice is gonna change their life tremendously. So I love what you're doing. So that's number one. I can definitely tell that you're the chief empathy officer by the way that you present. Even though you say you're trying to calm yourself down, you stay very level. So we know what you do works because you're doing it right. And you mentioned that a couple of times, like I know not only teach it, but I walk it out and I live it, right? So I think that's a great selling point, just sharing your story like you said earlier. And I love that you also highlighted other women in your presentation. That shows that you are all about networking and that you're not afraid to have people that are they're in your competition, but the sisterhood also is very important and the networking is important. So that makes me believe when you say, you not only get me, you get my network, you show this. Let's see what else. And very fly. Yeah, very fly.
My other name is the Fairy Glam Mother.
Yeah, I can see you. I love it. I'm trying to see what else to say. And the trauma-informed portion of this, well, I think that if it's tailored to that person, it will be more impactful. So I love that all of your frameworks and everything comes together based off of that individual versus it being like a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
One size fits all, for everybody. But overall, great job, and I'm excited. I'm gonna have to talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that you kept repeating your tagline, putting women back into the youth capital. And that's, again, I might not see you for weeks, months, so I'm gonna remember that tagline because I'm not gonna use it, yours. Your slides were very clear. I will only say that, if you're asking for money, they wanna see all the nitty gritty. And so to just add, a more thorough breakdown with some numbers of exactly what you want and how you're gonna use those funds. I really appreciate your transparency throughout. So, because people see that you empathize with them, and so they're gonna wanna do business with you. There's something about knowing somebody understands exactly where I am, that I'm more apt to let them help me than them,
Yeah.
even with the friendly voice and all the know-how, it's something about someone understanding, that just, makes the difference. You made right out the gate, you gave a clear, like, if I didn't think I had imposter syndrome, when you finished talking, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I do. So I think that is, really good. I do have a question.
Sure.
You're going to be offering online courses. Will you be using a website such as Kajabi or what? How are you?
Yeah, like a learning management platform.
Mhm.
LMS. Yeah, so what I'll do is my plan is to offer it through system.io. And basically it will allow me to centralize a lot of things, the online offering, and then also some of my CMS for staying in contact with different clients or whatnot, and keeping people abreast of new offerings.
Right. Now, are you, doing any type of social media, just like, cause I think you have such a wealth of wisdom. I can even see you just dropping, insightful thought of the day
Yeah.
or somewhere, and really
Yeah.
having a great following because you seem to be so personable, for people to just, be encouraged by you, just, not just for the intent of money, getting a
Right,
client, but
right.
just putting it out there, because the reality is, just like with my service, sometimes people can't afford
Yeah.
what we offer, and yet just be able to give them a little something.
Yeah, to maximize the impact on your community.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes, I am on all socials. I'm primarily on LinkedIn, and I don't do stuff that is a word of the day per se.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll post on dramatic issues or things like that, but I do receive the underlying point in the pitch is that I didn't really advertise my social, presence that much in the pictures.
Okay.
No, thank you. Yeah, and it's definitely not lost on me on social. I'll be really transparent, it's a lot to manage the social
Oh,
media.
well, I know.
And one of the expenses that I've incurred has been, Metrical. It's a tool that helps me to cross post. So, it's a lot.
Yes, I
So,
know.
but one thing about being trauma informed and being, very attuned, to you as a human, you know your limits. So I have to be a well-balanced
Yes,
CEO, right? So if I'm feeling like I'm stretching or
Yeah.
pulling myself too thin, I have to reprioritize where the energy goes.
Yes, yeah, social media is always my first to go.
Yeah. That was a nice way of saying, oh, I'm so tired. Well, thank you, I appreciate it so much.
I love that you use data too. Yeah, I forgot to say that earlier. I love that you have that in there for us to see what other people are saying based off of what they experience.
Yes.
It was just a light bulb moment. Here I am in a conference and I kept hearing the different voices in different rooms saying the same thing. So that's that computer science, data, risk and analytics type. I'm still that risk manager at heart. I'm a professional that don't go nowhere.
Yeah, it's still learning.
The only thing, great presentation, I love it, I learned from it. I do want to, gather your information, network with you. And then also, I agree with her that, the numbers, do the breakdown with the numbers of the allocations.
Yeah.
So, that's all that I have.
Thank you, and I have something for you all as well, for the panelists. I don't have enough for the class, but to my panelists, remember to choose you. So I'll leave you with this. And then you guys have a copy of the book here on, for the center.
Great job, everyone. Major kudos to you all. Are you done?
Yeah. I'm trying to get it,
Okay. So major kudos to all of you. Great job. I love that. I shared with y'all before, we're all beginning stage entrepreneurs. And so I just love to be on, we want to be on this journey with you. We want to be able to support you. Communication moving forward is going to be key. Staying in contact with me. Basically, just so you know, I'm going to be starting a new cohort here next week, right? And that's just how we function. And so we're still here. We're here to support you, but we talk